Focused. Oh baby. Okay.
You just licked in my ear hole.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be filming a Q&A all about the birth video. So this is little Lorenzo. He is 2 weeks old today. The reason he is just in a nappy is it's 30 degrees here and he has been just having heaps of skin to skin with James and I over the last few weeks. So I wrote down some questions that a lot of people asked. I put up a Q&A on my Instagram and I've just got them written in front, so if you see me looking down, I've got them all on a bit of paper.
Oh, bless you! Whoa!
Bless you again. So the name Lorenzo, where did we come up with that?
So I came up with the name and then I suggested it to you and you liked it as well.
Did you?
I did.
Don't think so.
I take full credit and then you did well at saying, yeah, that's definitely the one.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's what happened either.
I think I came up with the name. I liked the name Enzo.
You wanted a different name and then I said, nah, not really keen on that name. What about this one, or this one? And you said, oh, the Lorenzo one sounds good. And I like Lorenzo because Enzo Ferrari is the inventor of the Ferrari, and that's just cool because I love cars.
Yeah.
And then Enzo is off the Vampire Diaries, which is one of the coolest characters on there.
Damon's best friend.
Yeah, so Enzo is like this real old soul, like doesn't say much, but he's like, when he says something, it's like, yeah, he's like the nicest dude. So we like the name because he's a cool character.
I love unique names and I love Lorenzo, but I also love what it gets shortened to. And here in Australia, everyone shortens every name, so you've really got to think about what names will be shortened to.
Yeah, that was a big thing. It's because like, if you call someone Anthony, he's gonna get Ant.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure the nickname is something cool too, like Richard and Dick.
Also for me, I really like that Lorenzo is a Spanish and Italian name, and I would love to teach him some Spanish, which I learnt a bit in the last few years. So not that we're going to Spain, but I just think it's a beautiful language.
Look at his face.
Oh, you got a little yawn. So we have been in our new house for 9 months now, and Nathan Welsh, who I'll put link below, he did our mural, also the mural that is in our shed if you follow James's car YouTube channel, and he is so talented. We're so in love with it. If you don't know what Hakuna Matata means, Lion King, Hakuna Matata means no worries for the rest of your days. So that's like one of my favorite sayings, and I think it's a really cool backdrop for the YouTube video.
That's so cool. Yeah, Nathan's got some crazy skills. Like, the dude is unreal. So if you like painting and appreciate people's art, make sure you go check out his page and like share some love with him, because he's such a nice guy and he doesn't understand how good he is.
Yeah, he doesn't realise how
he really needs that, what did I say, encouragement. You're gonna edit this, eh? If you go give him some love, I'm sure he'll really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So for those of you who have watched our calm birth at home, that was not something that I thought would happen, as in when I was younger, birth is always something I've feared for so long.
You always used to say, there's no way I can push it out, I'm going to get a C-section.
Yeah.
It's like elected C-section.
I thought I would go for an elected C-section, which isn't always possible. So for over 10 years I suffered with really bad anxiety and panic attacks, to the point where I literally thought that I was going to die, and I was in hospital. They did all these tests on my heart and things, and I just would get to a point where my heart would be above 200 beats per minute. It was scary, and they were going to do surgery on my heart, like burning the, what were they going to burn?
They were going to go into your heart, up through your leg,
groin,
all the way up to your heart, and like burn like an artery or something.
Yeah, they were gonna
like a main pathway to change
electrical
something.
Yeah, so they said it might work and it might not. James noticed like a month after me cutting out the sugars and things that I hadn't had a panic attack, and then I realized, and then everything, my whole life changed. And for me, that was the passion and drive to get really into sharing my recipes and things like that. Not that it will help everyone, but for someone like myself that had suffered for so long and thought that I wasn't going to be here anymore, and the times that I was in hospital and things, it was really scary, like, yeah. And it was hard for James as well, because he didn't really know how to handle when I would have the anxiety and panic attacks. So yeah, the thought of birth scared the crap out of me. And I honestly just didn't think that I'd be able to do it. My thought and my fears from conditioning from movies and everything we see was that I would just die during labour. So it's quite crazy that we ended up having a home birth how we did, yeah, considering. So I changed my mindset of it being one of the scariest moments in my life to being one of the most magical moments that I absolutely love, and I love that we captured it so I can watch it back. Because, well, I love that James made sure, because our camera was actually dying, and
I almost missed it.
yeah, so James did really well to capture it.
I just have to like leg it back to the house and grab the backup camera.
Yeah, and hope that you made it back in time.
Yeah, I hope I didn't miss it.
So if you want to elect to have a home birth here on the, like in Queensland, you have to pay $6,000 to $7,000 to have like a home midwife come. And then if something does go wrong and you end up going to the hospital, you still have to pay that money. So I have a friend who recently gave birth and she still had to pay the money, but her midwife didn't make it in time, and yeah, she still had to go to the hospital. So yeah, not many people, I don't know many people that could afford that amount of money, especially when you've got a baby and with everything going on in the world money wise and stuff. Yeah, it's quite crazy. There is some places where it's funded by Medicare and you can have an elected home birth, but we didn't really have, we had a goal and a plan, but we didn't really have, like, James and I hadn't really discussed exactly what we were going to do, because we were willing to just go with the flow, and whatever felt right and whatever felt like it needed to happen, we would do. So if I needed to have an emergency C-section or have the epidural, I was happy to do so, but I personally really didn't want to have any intervention or drugs. I really wanted to be calm, and everything we learnt at our childbirth education course with Kate really prepared us to make us feel empowered to make informed decisions. And I know it scared a lot of people what we did, especially medical people and midwives and things, but we honestly would have called the ambulance sooner if something was going wrong. And if you've watched the whole birth video, you can see there's no point where we're scared or anything.
Yeah, everything was progressing like pretty well, and then Zara could feel up and feel the head. So, oh bless you again, big sneeze. So when we could feel the head coming out, then it was just, everything was a confirmation bias of like everything's going to plan. Everything's going as it should. And there was no panic or anything like that. Yeah. So there's no real need to...
a lot of people asked how we knew what to do. A lot of it was instincts. Like naturally someone said, how did I know how dilated I was and when to push? For me, with the course that we did, we didn't look into pushing. We looked into the contractions more as surges rather than actual contractions, as in to look at it more as it's a strong pressure rather than a pain. So that's why it doesn't look like I'm screaming or in a lot of pain, because I just felt it as intense pressure. So Melissa, who actually designed the hypnobirthing course, one of her main things she says is every surge is bringing you closer to meet your baby. So that's what I was focused on, the positives of every time I'd feel my body working, to breathe down with that, but I wasn't actually pushing. There was times when I was tensing up a bit, and that's why I was kind of doing the horse noise. Yeah, that was my noise to like try relax my face muscle.
So you were doing it.
Literally.
I didn't realise, because they showed us that in the hypnobirthing, they said try and relax your face, because a lot of people tense their face up when they're like
when you're doing
under
anything.
pressure. Yeah. And so they said try and relax your face first, and then that'll be a good point to start. And then so they said that in the course, and then when you were giving birth, you were doing that, but I didn't realise that you were actually.
I didn't realise.
You just did it naturally.
Yeah, definitely.
So a lot of things just happened because we were just going with the flow, and at first we didn't even think we were having a baby.
I thought it was Braxton Hicks.
Yeah, and like it didn't really seem all that, I don't know, dramatic or anything.
It did.
Like, it just seemed
it wasn't what I'd
crazy.
imagined. I'd imagined like it was intense, like period cramps kind of thing, but it didn't feel like what you hear, if you know, because everyone says, "Oh, you'll know," and as you heard when I was sitting in the spa, I'm like, well, everyone says you'll know, but I don't know, you know, because I've never done this before, so it's easy to say you'll know, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
James seemed to know more than me. He
Well, I didn't really know Braxton Hicks was like a thing that you fully feel like you're pregnant. I thought it was just cramps and stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought when you were doing what you were doing, I was like, yeah, we're definitely having a baby. And you were like, I don't think so.
And then when my waters popped, like literally popped,
Yeah.
it was like, okay.
Water popped in the water.
Yeah, it was like, felt like a little water balloon popped, and I was like, okay, it's getting real now. Like, I kind of snapped out of it and was like, okay, yep.
And then from then, it was like the sun was setting, the birds were chirping.
We just put up the fairy lights.
The fairy lights were coming on because it was getting darker, and it was so nice and relaxing. I had the nice relaxing music on, and then time went so fast because we were like basically meditating.
Yeah.
And time went so fast, eh? But it wasn't like a long labour or anything like that compared to most.
So I was in labour for about 4 hours, and the most like more intense part where I'm actually more focused in that was the last 2 hours. And then the actual birth was only like probably 2 minutes and 2 pushes, which was crazy. And James could see the head, and that's why in the
I don't know if you can hear that on the camera, but it was like...
I'm pretty sure you're about to hear it. So a lot of people were asking why we kept baby a secret. It wasn't necessarily a secret as such. We just personally chose not to put it on social media, and not because of our miscarriage, not because we lost our first. It was just literally such a crazy year.
That one gave me a fright. That was him.
I thought it was you.
That was the biggest fart he's ever done.
So we actually conceived baby Lorenzo on Angel Baby's due date, which was really special. Like, I had been using the thermometer app, and it's called Thermometer.
I was gonna say, are you saying it right?
So it's normally thermometer, but it's Thermometer, and I've been using the app and the little thermometer that comes with it on eBay. And they have a really cool app. You can track your ovulation. You actually test your temperature every morning, and it's like your basal temperature, which I'll do a separate video on. But I was tracking my ovulation, but also confirmed it with the Clear Blue ovulation test, so I knew that it was accurate because it tests your luteinizing hormone. And yeah, we kind of, I guess we weren't necessarily actively trying after the miscarriage, but we had heard that you can fall pregnant quite quickly after, but I took like 3 months to get my period back after. So it just happened at the right time. We were in a calm environment here, even though all the craziness was going on, and with our jobs, like
Honestly, he's showing off for the camera. He's like, listen how big farts I can do now. He couldn't do this yesterday. He's just learnt a new skill.
Yeah.
You're doing good.
But yeah, it felt really special, and it just felt like it was meant to be. And a lot of people said, well, was I scared at the first like heartbeat appointment and things? I personally wasn't. James was a little bit nervous. He didn't want to get his hopes up, but I personally knew. I just felt everything felt okay. And that sounds weird, but sometimes if you're quite in tune with your body and quite spiritual, you just know.
Yeah, that was like for you, because pregnancy is a lot different for males than females. Definitely. And for me, I can't feel anything, so when I can't see the bump at the start, when I couldn't see anything, any changes or anything like that, I wasn't like, I didn't want to get my hopes up because of what happened last time, so I was kind of like excited, but then not like getting super excited.
Yeah.
But then when we
Until
did the scan,
no,
we did the scan, we seen the heartbeat, and I was just like,
yeah.
And holy shit, here he is. That was him on the scan. That was you.
Yeah, so I was feeling like soft kicks and butterflies. Okay. Like, I was feeling butterflies at 12 weeks, and then I was feeling full soft little kicks in there. And because I had an anterior placenta at the front, it was hard for James to actually feel baby. So I'd often grab his hand, and would kind of not be that patient, and then he wouldn't get to feel baby until quite a bit on, like probably like 20 weeks or something until he could feel.
It was like an internal kick, but not on the outside.
Yeah.
But then as we progressed, he was kicking like, it was like the whole is it Maltesers ad? Where the baby kicks the Maltesers off the belly?
Yeah. I got a lot of questions. How did I hide my bump? How did I hide, like when we were going out in public and stuff, how did I hide it? So some people saw me out at the Drift Matsuri event, and they had no idea. I was wearing triple XL tops from like Kmart, t-shirt.
It was hot too.
Yeah.
Like 20,
I actually wore a hoodie
30.
on like a 30-degree day.
Yeah.
And a few people, like girls, not more, like were a bit like, that's a bit weird. It's like hot. But not many people noticed at all. One of my good friends, Kate, with the pink S14, she actually asked me. And I like that she asked me, because a lot of people are scared to ask, especially if someone's lost before. So I can understand. But she said to me, babe, do you want to come out on the track with me in my drift car? And I was like, oh no, I'm all good. I'm not going passenger today. And she's like, why aren't you drifting today? And I was like, I'm just filming for James, you know. And then she was like, you can not answer me, but she said, what did she say? I'm pretty sure you're pregnant. And I was like, yeah, I am. I said, can you tell? And she said, no, I can't tell, but you don't want to come out on the track with me and you're not drifting, something's up. So yeah, there was a few people that kind of guessed, and there was a few people that had a weird feeling, or some people had dreams that I was pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then I didn't really go out in public that much because simply COVID. Like everyone's like, how did you keep it a secret? It was pretty easy to not have heaps of people see me because COVID. Like everyone's kind of in lockdown and not going out anyway. Some people messaged me on my recipe page, and their boyfriends had seen me and gone home and said, I'm pretty sure Miss Keto is pregnant. And their partners were like, don't say that. No, she's not. Like, they got real annoyed, and then it turned out when they saw the video.
Funniest thing.
They were like, oh, right. Like,
that'll be the funniest thing, eh? It was real hard because I've got a YouTube channel and I film cars and stuff, and right when I started, it was at the start of this year. Oh, well, last year. Started last year, and Zara was coming out with me in the car heaps, and like she was always on the episodes, and then all my subscribers and stuff noticed that she just vanished and she stopped appearing in videos, and if she was, it was just like her face, like for a split second, saying hello. And then you were never at the track, and then everyone kept asking me, where's Zara? Like, what? Why isn't Zara drifting? And I'm like,
but no one really like thought anything of it.
Yeah, I know, because I just covered it up real well.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, she's just at home, got all the animals at home, she has to look after the animals. Which you do.
Yeah.
So it works.
So during the pregnancy I gained 10 kilos and yeah, I was wearing the oversized t-shirts and it kind of started to get a bit harder to hide at, I would say, like 25 weeks or something. Like
when you were really showing.
Yeah, when I really started popping out and I was like, whoa, okay. So then we just kind of stayed at home. We didn't really go out or anything. I lived in, I don't personally wear bras, and I lived in my Myra swim top. So it's like a little Gold Coast business, and I have this crop top on. It's super easy to breastfeed in, and it's so comfortable. It's like double lined. I'll leave a link below to the product link, but I have this black one, and then I also have another black one and a white one. And I'm pretty sure it's called the Stella, but it's so comfortable and it's actually quite supportive. And then yeah, I don't have any bras or underwires, which is awesome. So I didn't personally get any puffiness or swelling or anything. There was 2 days out of the whole pregnancy where my feet got a little bit swollen, but that was after like long days of hairdressing on my feet. And
he's going for milk on my arm. There's no milk in there.
He just had some food. So he's cluster feeding at the moment. So he's like just wanting to feed all the time because he's growing.
Oh no. Oh no. He needs the milk.
We went about 9 days before the due date, and I didn't really call it a due date. When people were asking, I called it an ETA, like an estimated time of arrival, because our due date given was the 19th, and then the midwives were going off the 15th, which was a bit confusing. There was like 2 different dates. So from the 19th we ended up going 9 days early, but yeah, only 5% of women actually go on their due date, which is pretty crazy.
It's just like a guide, like an estimate.
Yeah, like they can never fully know. And everyone was, when I said I had a feeling that I was going to go a week early, everyone said to me, no, you won't go early for your first. So there's no norm, there's no, there's definitely people that have similar experiences, but there's no like,
one size fits all.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So on Boxing Day, our cat Violet actually had kittens, and she woke me up at about 5:30. I've got a video on my animal page, which I'll link below if you want to watch it, the full birth video. But weirdly enough, watching my cat, by the way, my cat Kaiser is now desexed. This happened before he got desexed, and she had 3 beautiful kittens, and we are keeping 1 for Lorenzo, and then family and friends are going to have the other 2. But watching my cat Violet give birth was weirdly inspiring because she just knew what to do. Like she
instinctively,
she followed her instincts and chewed the placenta, which I wasn't going to do, but she just knew what to do and was so calm, and it inspired me and somehow just made me feel like everything was going to be okay with the birth.
Really?
Yeah. It sounds weird, but Violet inspired me. So throughout the whole pregnancy I actually was listening to a certain Spotify playlist that I've made, which is a 432 hertz frequency, and it's really relaxing, and I practically throughout our birth video we're listening to similar type of music but with the hypnosis with it, and I really feel like that helped keep me calm. All my clients that come to the salon always ask like about the music because they feel really calm after coming to visit, so I often send them my Spotify playlist. I feel like James needs to listen to it too.
I hear it when you play it on the TV. It's really calming.
Yeah, makes you like
so,
it makes you
to sleep though.
Yeah, but you fall asleep pretty easy.
It's so nice though.
So I'll put a link to my Spotify playlist below. So how I met Kate, who we did our childbirth education course / hypnobirthing through, is I actually used to do her hair and her family's hair. I've cut her daughter's hair and her son's, and yeah, we've been friends ever since. And yeah, that was, I think it's weird how things work out like that. Yeah. And James was like not super looking forward to the course because it's like...
It was 2 full Sundays.
Like 8 hours.
8 hours each, so 16 hours of baby talk, and I was like, yeah, nah. But when we got there, do you want to talk about when we got there?
Hey?
Yeah.
Oh, you can go.
When we got there, started off like, you know, introduction and whatnot. Been to a few like listening courses before, and they're always very boring, but Kate is the most amazing instructor ever, like, and teacher.
She's so passionate about it.
Just enthusiasm made me want to get up and run around the room. Like, she was just, she loves her job, she loves what she does.
Yeah.
And like, she made it easy to learn because it was fun, you know?
Yeah.
That's what makes a good teacher, I reckon, when you make it fun.
And she's like enthusiastic through the whole
time.
Yeah. And
we come back like a week later and she was, boom, straight into it again.
Yeah.
She's like a really good teacher. So if anyone was going to do the course, I hope that you get her because she's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're very grateful for everything that that course taught us, because going into pregnancy and labour and stuff, we didn't really know much, just like your general things that you hear from other people's experiences.
Which are normally not good
Which
experiences.
are most of the time
PTSD
a negative
from trauma.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a lot of births that don't go nicely at all. And
have a lot of intervention.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of people that end up getting induced and things is so high. It's,
which is really sad. But that's not the only way of doing it. There's other ways you can have birth, and this course was one of the ways that we could do it, and it worked really well with how we wanted to do.
There was so much knowledge that it empowered us to know our rights, and nothing against anyone that gets induced or anything. We just personally wanted to try for as natural as possible, but as I've said, we were happy to go with the flow and go with whatever needed to be done to keep our baby safe.
If there was any complications or anything that we found out through our doctor's appointments beforehand, obviously we would have went about things a bit different, but everything was moving smoothly, we were passing all the tests and everything, so there was no real risk, like, I shouldn't say any risk, because there's always risks, but there was no alarming concern with the way things were going. Yeah,
so we're like so conditioned to fear birth from TV. Such a young age, from
film
media.
And TV, because if you're filming something, it happens with a lot of things, right? If you're filming something, to make it more interesting to watch, it has to be dramatized.
Yeah.
So pregnancies, labour is one of those things that have been dramatized to make it like more entertaining to watch. It's more emotional, but it doesn't have to be that extreme. Like, it can be a nice calming thing. But imagine if they put like a relaxation, like what we did, like a hypnobirthing experience on TV in a hospital. Like, it's gonna be pretty boring. It's like not much happens. It's kind of like quiet and like just relaxing.
Yeah.
And you can't watch someone relax in a movie.
Yeah, I feel like one of the main scenes people know is, you probably wouldn't because you probably didn't used to watch Friends.
No.
No, but Rachel of Friends. Do you know who Rachel is?
Yeah.
Jennifer
Don't know.
Aniston.
Oh, Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
I know the one.
So she's like giving birth in like fake birth on acting, and she's just sitting there like and like I did get so many messages. Someone sent me a really funny message and said, I've literally brushed my hair that looked more painful than that.
That's pretty funny.
Which was so good. But yeah, I just changed my mindset to feel it as pressure rather than feel it as pain. And you would be surprised the power of your brain. So not just the childbirth education course, but I've done so much research over the last 3 years. I always am researching health and nutrition and everything, mind, body, soul. And one of my other favorite people who Kate actually also knew who he was Joe Dispenza. He's, I think, a neuroscientist, and he is amazing. If you watch some of his videos, maybe watch his video with Tom Bilau from Health Impact. He has amazing, I love his YouTube channel, Health Impact. And yeah, there's just so many, or even like I think David Wim Hof.
Impact Theory.
Impact Theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Health Theory.
Impact Theory.
Thanks. Gosh, you're good.
It's a good show.
It is.
There's
good.
a lot of good interviews on there, like really good.
Yeah, and even like David Wim Hof, the Iceman, he has amazing videos about learning. Like I did a lot of cold therapy before I was pregnant and things, and we were going in the sauna, and then I'd go into freezing cold water. And when you can control your mind, you can control so much. So like everyone had, like even family and friends had said little things about childbirth, and oh, you say you don't want the drugs, but you'll want them.
Even a cop told us that.
Yeah.
He said, don't be a hero, take the drugs.
Yeah. We got pulled up coming out of Nursery, and yeah, the police officer was just like, so how many weeks you got left, you know? And then yeah, he was just like, oh shit, good luck. And like just such a, like, obviously I'm not naive. I knew it was going to be intense, and as I said, it was something I feared my whole entire life. But I don't think it's good to kind of give so much negative opinions out of someone. Like if someone gets cancer or something, you don't go, oh gosh, I know so many people that have died from that. Like if someone tells you their news, that would be the worst. You should be like, oh, that's amazing. Like, you know, and it's so easy for us to push our PTSD off on people, and, you know, like our trauma, even if it's childhood trauma and things.
It's because of the pregnancy thing, no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
And like going through our pregnancy, hearing stories of other people's, it's like a massive untalked about topic that people are suffering from, and then they take that little outlet as a chance to like just let it out when it's the wrong time. Yeah, and it is good to talk about things. Like I made a YouTube video about our miscarriage the day after, which so many people were confused of how I was speaking so soon. But for me it was therapy. For me it was letting it all out, and so many people don't talk about miscarriage and think there has to be a reason. Did I eat eggs? Did steak kill my baby? There was like, you know, so many opinions on that, but there doesn't have to be a reason. Like so many cells have to come together for a baby to be formed. It's a miracle. Like there doesn't have to be something someone did wrong to cause a miscarriage. In regards to midwife and things, we didn't have a midwife. We were just planning on going through the public system, but I actually didn't see a midwife until like 35 weeks or something. Because I wasn't going to multiple doctor's appointments. No one had like kind of told me to, but a few of my clients had said, oh, you're getting sick of all the doctor's appointments. And I was like, well, I've only actually been to like the 12 week, 18 week, and that's about it. Like nothing was feeling wrong. And that's not saying that you shouldn't do that. I just personally didn't feel like anything was wrong. Even some friends said to me, are you going to stay keto throughout the pregnancy and things? The way James and I eat, we don't see it as a diet. We don't see it as keto. We just see it as we eat real food. We eat meat, eggs and veggies, the same as if someone was kind of like diabetic or like watching their blood sugars, or the same as if someone was gluten-free. Yeah, we eat. If we go to a barbecue, there's still heaps of food we can eat, just maybe not like the bread or garlic bread or something. We've got meat, eggs, the salad, you know. Heaps.
Yeah, like there's so many people say to us when we get, oh, I don't know if there's anything you can eat. And we'll have like a full plate. Like, it's like, don't you worry, we'll eat. Like when you pass a certain time period of not eating a certain food that you've chosen not to eat for a certain reason, once you get to that certain time, it becomes easy where like you don't even want to eat it. Yeah. Like that was pretty quick for me, like a month in or something. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to eat like pasta or bread or something like that. Definitely. Like you can have Red Rooster chips sitting in front of me, and I will never want one. No. You could have sweet potato chips sitting in front of me from Grilled or something, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll have some of them, which we do have sweet potato. It's more like seeing food as fuel instead of seeing food as like
just for the sake of like eating food.
Yeah, which is also conditioning. Like we're taught to give treats for everything. You know? Treats for birthday, treats for this. So yeah, it's all about mindset. And James and I have both changed so much over our 7 years together.
7 years.
Yeah. We talked about this the other day.
I swear it's 6. Did we come to it?
No, I remember.
No, you did. you calculated it and it's been 7 years.
And I was right.
You know that's almost 10 years.
Practically.
That's a long time.
It is. But we were not like this at the beginning.
Wow.
We were not this type of people. Like, I was an overthinker with really bad anxiety and really bad panic attacks. James was like
trying to be bulking.
Trying to bulk in the gym.
Trying to bulk with all the freaking brown rice and potatoes and
protein powders and
protein shakes. I used to think people like us were hippies, eh?
Yeah.
And now I think that hippies are like onto it. If you're not like in the minority, if you're not like part of the mainstream and you're outside of that, then you're seen as weird because you're different, so it mustn't be right.
Yeah.
But now I purposely try and be that person that's not doing what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
And it's working well for me.
So I'm lucky enough to be friends with an amazing doctor, Dr. Ken Berry, and I checked with him all the prenatals and supplements I was taking, and these are what worked really well for me. I'm not recommending anything in this video. We're not recommending. This is just our personal experience because we had so many questions on our birth video, and all of this worked really well for avoiding morning sickness, avoiding swelling, bloating, all the kind of normal things, but saying that every pregnancy is different and my next pregnancy might not be the same.
Be a good experiment.
Yeah. So one of the main questions people ask me is, what did I do to avoid tearing? So one of the main things was we weren't really pushing. We were breathing with the contractions and letting my body do the work.
I wasn't doing anything, it was you.
Well,
You keep saying we.
Well, we did it together.
I was breathing the whole time.
I was breathing. I just wasn't like pushing.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think someone said you didn't have actually one of my friends said, wait, so you didn't have a midwife there telling you when to push? No, because we weren't planning on pushing. For the last probably 5 years, I actually have had this thing called a potty stool. And people find it so weird, but I have this little stool that sits under the toilet, and for the last 5 years this might be too much information for some people, but we all poo, so yeah, I've been like putting my legs up on the stool and I breathe my poo out rather than push it out. I don't strain. And if you ever wonder why people in certain countries squat on their toilet, there's actually science behind it. Like, it comes out so much better when your legs are elevated and you're not just sitting at 90 degrees on the toilet.
Yeah, if you look at the side on like picture of how your canals work, it flows a lot better when your legs are up.
Your canals.
That's what it is.
Bum canals.
It's an anal canal.
Is it?
I don't know.
Anus. I don't know. But also, I was drinking raspberry leaf tea for the last probably month of the pregnancy, and I actually found it really nice. I'd heard it's not nice, but I just literally put 2 tea bags in and just put like the tiniest bit of water. Like, I had it quite concentrated. I didn't have like a big thing of it. And then we were doing the perinatal massage, but we probably only did it about 10.
Yeah, I was going to say 10
yeah,
times.
10 times. I'd planned to do it every day for the last like 2 months of pregnancy, but I didn't find it enjoyable at all.
Yeah.
It was like...
It's because we should have done like, maybe started off a bit like foreplay and then work into it, but we were just, boom, straight in there.
Okay.
Talking about the vagina massage?
Yeah.
This isn't live, is it?
Okay. Well, I don't know. So, yeah, so the perinatal massage is really good. having your partner or yourself, if you prefer, put their fingers in there and just kind of slightly massage the bottom area of the vagina. But you can search up YouTube videos on how to do that. But I found it hard. James just kind of ended up doing one finger and just coconut oil.
I found that it works really good. Not so much like to the sides, like opening, but more holding it down, and it literally stretches out if you just keep pushing pressure down, and it will open right up. Yeah, this is the diagram. If you just pull down, this will open so big, and it's scary. It's actually scary how much.
But you weren't doing 2 fingers.
Oh. We did at the end, didn't we?
Near the end we got 2 fingers.
So you want to work your way up to it. The videos make it look really comfortable, but it's not.
No.
And you want to trim your nails.
And then I also was taking evening primrose oil for the last month of pregnancy, and also putting capsules up inside me. I didn't cut them and squirt them up there. I just literally pushed them up inside me and slept with them in me, which is meant to be really good as well. So all these are like natural remedies, but they can't harm in trying. And obviously it helped. I was willing to do all the natural things to help not tear down there. Which was really good for my recovery, because I only had like 3 days of like uncomfortableness down there where I was walking a bit funny because it was still a little bit swollen down there. But yeah, it made recovery a lot better. If I had tearing down there, it would be so scary, and I was so scared to pee and poo for the first time. Like I literally, when I peed in hospital, I was like, okay, let's go pee, and it literally was fine. And I was like, I've literally feared this for so long. Like it's crazy, the power of your mind.
Doesn't a pee come out a different spot though?
Yeah, but it's still scary.
Is tearing like really common?
Yeah. Or people end up getting cut and get stitches. I feel I could tell when I was at the moment of Lorenzo crowning, I could tell that if I pushed, I would tear. I could feel that. I don't know. It's
kind of like the speed of it too. It's got to have time to like stretch out.
For the next part, and sometimes tilting your pelvic back and forth and being in the right position. If I was on my back, it would be a lot different, but being forward, the birth canal was open. So yeah, I could tell that it was going to work good.
The whole thing was just like not panicking and not rushing, and just letting your body do what it's designed to do. Because before hospitals, we still gave birth to babies.
Yeah.
Like well before hospitals. So obviously our body's capable of doing it without any real assistance. And it was just like letting your body do what it needs to do, and the time that it takes is longer than what hospitals let you take.
Yeah.
They kind of just want to get it out real fast, and then that's, I think, when that's the damage happens.
Yeah, so when I'd felt the head, I was like, okay, just wait for the next surge. I didn't go, okay, I can feel the head, let's push. Like if I had someone there and someone said to me, all right, you're going to start pushing, 10, 9 or whatever, that would have stressed me out. I just needed to be like, okay, let's just wait for the next surge and then release and let your body release. Sounds simple and easy, I know, but it's just what we're conditioned to think you need to push against, like, and against gravity with lying on your back. Like it doesn't really make sense when you think about it.
It doesn't.
I'll actually insert a video of my cat Violet giving birth, and you can watch the way she kind of is standing up and working with her body, because I find that interesting.
Really? I haven't seen it.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I showed you.
Only a snippet of it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So with the hypnobirthing, we had also done birth rehearsals. So in the spa bath, we had rehearsed the birth and fully, like, I've got a really good imagination. I have since I was a little girl, and I've always had really vivid dreams, and like every single night, and I can remember them like really intensely. And I find I had visioned, and if you watch Dr. Joe Dispenza talk about visualizing something before it becomes a thing, so I had imagined feeling the head down there and pulling my own baby out, so that when it became a reality, it wasn't a fear, because I had got it into my subconscious mind, which sounds really weird.
Crazy.
But once I felt the head, it was like I had already rehearsed this in my head. And it just, yeah, as I say, if something was going wrong, we definitely would have called the ambulance sooner, but everything just felt right. And I know that something still could have gone wrong, but we were lucky that it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, if you do the hypnobirthing course and you want to give it a red hot crack, the rehearsals are freaking awesome. Like, that helped us out heaps. Because especially for me, because I got no idea, and yeah, just rehearsing it made me feel more comfortable and more confident.
Yeah, definitely.
And like the little video clip they give you, or sound bite, is just, it makes it really easy. So
yeah,
I'd recommend doing the rehearsals like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. We had the spa bath set to 37 degrees, which worked really well for not being too hot, but just keeping me relaxed and all my muscles and everything relaxed. And we don't have any chlorine or chemicals in the spa. Our pool that we have is a Magna pool, so it's a mineral pool. And our spa bath, we use a filter from New Zealand called Simple Silver, and it is chemical free. So
that was another thing the hospital was freaking out about.
Yeah, the hospital freaked out a bit because I think they thought that he was born in like a chlorinated spa, which wouldn't have been ideal. So a lot of the times when people are going for their like hospital appointment checkups and their doctor's appointments and things, if the head is not down and engaged by like say week 37, that often will make you freak out. And even someone we heard speaking that had a previous like traumatic birth, we heard her say that at about 27 or 30 weeks, not even 30 weeks, that she was told the baby was in a breached position, which is crazy to me because that puts so much fear into people's head. When the baby can move like right up until the last minute, like in the last 10 minutes the baby can move. So literally on the day he was still like head to the side here, and there's a part in our birth video where you can feel I put a timestamp as the head engages. So he literally moved from here and must have gone head down just before birth. So I had planned on the following day going to get acupuncture from a guy that I've been seeing in Rabina, who is an amazing Chinese acupuncture specialist, and he's been doing acupressure massage on me, which is really good for hairdressing, with getting sore shoulders and everything like that, and my tailbone that was causing me a bit of grief.
So if you were to be told that your baby is a breech baby, is that what it is?
Yeah.
If your baby's a breech baby, like early on, it's not the end of the line. Like there's things you can do to make baby move.
Yeah.
There's exercises and like a lot of natural ways to get the baby to turn around.
Yeah, and it's not guaranteed that it will, but it's...
Yeah, and it's not something to be... Like, you can still give birth to a breech baby and everything will be fine.
But it's
just
high risk.
More high risk, so
yeah.
Obviously you wouldn't...
And a lot of like midwives and things aren't always trained in like a breached birth, so they'll have to get specialists and
it's still
a
not,
lot more paperwork.
It's just not something to be like, oh, we're having a breech baby, like it's probably not going to go well.
Yeah.
You need to stay positive and research things on your own to find out different things of what you can do.
Yeah, so I personally didn't want any stretch and sweeps. I didn't want any oxytocin injected into me. I just really wanted to let my body do what it is meant to do, which scares a lot of people in the medical world and that, but yeah.
Everyone. We're just lucky and fortunate that your body did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, definitely.
And there wasn't any complications, because not everyone gets that.
After the birth, a few people had asked if I was worried about hemorrhaging, like losing a lot of blood. Literally the tiniest bit of mucus came out with Lorenzo, but there was not like a pool of blood or anything. Even when the placenta came out, that didn't come out until afterwards. So I got out of the spa bath and got on all fours on a yoga mat next to the spa, and birthed my placenta. And that was like 2 hours after, like almost 2 hours, when the ambulance got here. Because weirdly enough, I knew that a placenta can be like 2 kilos, and if he's like 3 kilos, I'm like, I'm about to have to give birth again. And I was a bit like nervous to birth the placenta, weirdly. I think I was more nervous to birth the placenta than him.
The major thing that happened was the atmosphere changed. We went from hypnobirthing in like a calm meditative state, to now there was ambulance
like
people on scene
people
with the lights on, and your thought process has changed from being calm and natural to now it's more of a stressful
emergency
environment
situation.
Where, yeah, if you see an ambulance officer, you automatically start thinking about like not positive things.
Yeah.
Just without thinking about it, you know.
And also, like, poor Elijah, our dog, was up here freaking out that the ambulance people were here,
barking and stuff. So as soon as you change your environment and your mind frame, things don't progress how they should, because your body's starting to shut down, like fight or flight.
So I could tell that I was clenching my vagina and holding on to the placenta, and the 2 lovely ambulance officers were trying to talk to me. And I said to them, James said I was rude, but I don't feel like I was rude. I just said, I wasn't rude. I just said, I'm really sorry, but do you mind just not talking to me so I can, I know that I can get this placenta out.
He said, if you weren't talking to me, I might be able to do it.
I did not say it like that. I remember how I said it, James. I said, I literally remember how I said it, because I was leaning against the spa and I looked up at the girls who were really lovely, and I said, I'm real sorry, but I feel like if I'm not talking to you, I'll be able to get it out, because they were trying to inject me with some oxytocin, which I didn't want to do. So then they were like, oh, sorry. And then, yeah, I put my head down, and then when I got out of the spa, I was able to do it on all fours, and it literally just slipped out in like 10 minutes. Easily. And it was so easy, and I was like, why was I worried about that?
It's so crazy when you're trying to do things natural. It's so easy to fall into the trap of like surrendering to like artificial things.
Yeah. Because
they were saying, like, they were advising us, oh, it's not progressing, so with the placenta's not progressing, so we're going to have to give you some synthetic oxytocin. And they realized that we were trying to do it natural, so they were really like what do you say? Understanding of our what we wanted to do. What is that?
Our plan?
Our something shit. What we want. Our something. Our what we want. What is it? There's a word for it.
I don't know.
Oh, when you respect someone's
wishes.
No, there's another word. The ambulance ladies were really nice.
Yeah.
In trying to like cooperate with the way we wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So they were a little bit hesitant in offering it, but they said like, alright, we'll give you a bit of time, and if it doesn't progress anymore, we're gonna have to do it. And then when it wasn't going ahead, I was thinking, oh shit, you might have to take it.
Yeah.
And so I almost got tricked into thinking we need to do it.
Yeah.
And then next minute you just birthed it out naturally, and I was so proud. I was so proud. And then like also later on they wanted to do something, and you were just like determined, and then we didn't need to do it. I don't know what the second thing was.
Yeah, there was quite a few things.
There was a lot.
When James was holding Lorenzo, we were outside obviously, and he was so warm and nice and in the spa, but once we got him out of the spa and got him dry, his feet got a little bit cold. Yeah. So his temperature dropped by like a tiny bit, and his blood sugar dropped a little bit, but it was by 0.1. So when I was in the ambulance on the way to the hospital,
it wasn't 0.1.
Hey?
It was 0.01.
Yeah, 0.01.
0.01, it's like nothing.
Yeah.
And but because it's not in range of their okay range, then they were starting to have concerns. But it was just because he got cold.
Yeah,
and we warmed him up, and he was
I
fine.
really wanted him on my chest in the ambulance, but they wanted him to be wrapped in a blanket, and I put some socks and little mittens on him and a beanie. but I really wanted his chest on my chest, as much skin to skin, because that's when he was really happy. And I feel like that's the fastest way to warm a baby up, but they wouldn't really let me, so I tried to not be like too argumentative. I tried to be as compliant as possible. Cooperative.
That's the word.
And when I was in the ambulance, I didn't have James with me, and there was the brightest lights, and it just changed the whole vibe from our beautiful atmosphere to like, yeah, emergency. We're on the M1, we've got 2 ambulances, James is following in the truck. I said we were fine to drive in, like we had the baby seat all set up and everything, but for protocol they had to take me in the ambulance. So James followed behind, and they pricked his foot and did a blood sugar test, and because it was 0.01, slightly like 1 below the normal kind of thing, they wanted to inject, like give him some glucose, like some sugar, to get his sugars up. And I was like, is there another option? Like, and then the guy driving was like, oh, I don't know, I'm not going to say her name or anything, but he was like, oh, I don't know if you can give that to babies that young, as he's driving. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, if they're like, yeah, nah, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, no.
And then we pulled over on the side of the motorway, and the head ambulance guy came over, and from the other ambulance, and he got told the blood sugar levels, and he was like, that's fine, that's completely normal for in the first 24 hours. Like, so yeah, the main girl was quite concerned. So everyone's just got different level of knowledge and different things that concern them, and we noticed that throughout the hospital journey it was 50-50. Some people were like, hello, wow, you're amazing, I just heard about your story. And that was so lovely. We had this beautiful girl, I can't remember her name, it might have been Janaea, but she was like South African with turquoise hair. She came in and was like this beautiful mermaid, and I was like, oh my gosh. And she just came in so positive. When she came into the room, I was happy because she was so like uplifting. And she walked out of the room, and I said to James, I love her. Like, I love her. So yeah, I don't want to talk too much about the hospital experience, because I really respect everyone that works in the public system and that, but I just had a little bit of I wasn't ever concerned about going into hospital. I've heard so many good things, but unfortunately, because we did have a free birth, which wasn't necessarily planned, like although we had all the things, and I had gone on a website called MedShop and got 2 clamps and proper medical scissors so that we could cut the cord if it was needed, but I was happy to not have to use them. But that worried people that, like, we had literally cut the cord, and they were surprised James had done it so perfect. So we'd done it 5 centimeters from the belly button, put 2 clamps on, cut it. We cut it after about maybe 15 minutes once it had stopped pulsing.
We were both just super calm when baby came out, and we were in like this instinctual mode where
we were in another,
we were literally in another dimension.
We were taking in the moment, and yeah, as you saw in the video, we were really
It felt so natural. It felt like he was always here, and it felt like it was just us 3, the only 3 in the whole world.
Yeah.
It was a really crazy experience, and I felt high as shit.
Yeah, it was like all the endorphins and everything. It was just like such a beautiful moment. And we had the little nose squirter thing, which I just got from baby Buntings, and we just got any mucus out of his nose. But also when a baby is actually born, so in the birth video, the one concerning bit that does look a little bit freaky is when I pull him up and he slightly puts his head back in the water. That does look freaky, but he hadn't actually had his first breath yet. So baby can literally be in the water quite like and still be breathing when attached to you. So it's not until they take their first breath, but their bodies actually produce a chemical that helps them get fluid out of their lungs. So I knew that he was going to be okay, but obviously I didn't try and dunk his head back in. It was just like, it was such an amazing moment. Yeah. So we also left all the vernix on his skin, the white vernix that is around him, and rubbed it into his skin. And we have done a milk bath. We probably waited till about day 10 until we did his first bath. Apart from that, we've just been using a face cloth. Obviously they don't get smelly or anything. And we're changing his nappy and cleaning his bum and face and everything. But we did a milk bath with breast milk and he absolutely loved it. Like when we put him in the bath, he was just straight away like...
ultimate relaxation.
He didn't even... Most babies when they hit water will get a little bit of a fright. He just went... He smiled like...
Yeah.
And he was in heaven. We didn't use any soap or anything. We just used my milk and his skin felt so soft when we pulled him out.
It's going to be interesting when he gets older to see if he like loves swimming and being in the water.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's what he knew from right at the start, being in the water heaps.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
So we don't actually own a bath in our house. Our house was like built in the 70s and for some reason they just don't have a bath. So we've got... It
might have, but when they renovated it, they didn't put one in.
Yeah. Well, we have really big tubs and we've got that flower cushion which goes in the bath, and you just obviously want to make sure you wash it and really dry it out afterwards. But yeah, he loved that. So once we got into hospital, there was quite a few people actually giving birth, so they were really busy, which was completely fine. We were happy. James was having a little nap on the chair. We were both quite tired and hadn't eaten or anything. Luckily we'd been to Brio Emporium the day before and had a really big feed. I literally had like chicken bone broth, I had beef brisket with avocado, I had a cookies and cream shake, I had some seeded toast, like the biggest meal ever.
Massive meal.
It's like somehow I knew that I was going to need it, because once I got into hospital they didn't have that, their food options weren't like, you know, I had my hospital bag packed, but I hadn't yet added my snacks. I was going to add some cashew nuts and some electrolytes and things, and I hadn't yet added them. I was adding them the next day. And yeah, they only kind of had cereal and cheesecake and things that I don't personally eat. So I said to them, do you have like an apple or banana or something? So they brought in a banana, and that was the only thing I personally wanted to eat from there. And then James bought me in a green apple, and then yeah, I just waited till we got home to have a meal. They also wanted me to have like some Metamucil and things like that to help with my first poo after birth, which I don't take Metamucil. I don't like it. So I just kept eating my normal food, and when I did do my first poo, it came out completely fine. And that was something I had really feared as well. Because although I'd worked on releasing the fear of childbirth, I had still had that fear of going pee and poo for the first time. But it was completely fine. So yeah, it was just all the stories I've been told, and I do have a lot of friends who have teared from like one hole to the other, and they were didn't enjoy their first pee and poo. So
boy, that was the other thing I've just remembered.
Yeah,
the oxytocin thing you rejected and you did it naturally. And then we got into hospital and he was all checked out. They checked you out and you had grazing on the inside of your vagina.
Yeah.
And then she was acting like it was really bad. And I was actually sitting in line so I could see.
Right up there.
Just coincidentally, that's where I was sitting with baby, and I was like, okay. But it didn't look that bad. No. It was just like a tiny little bit of redness. And she was like saying like, okay, we got a double, like really making it sound, we've got a double tear or a double stretch mark or... What is it?
Graze.
We got a double graze each side, left and right, Roger. And the other lady was like, oh my gosh. And then it seemed like it was a big thing. And you were just like, oh, nah, it'll be fine. And she's like, oh, we recommend you to have stitches.
She said we can just put 3 stitches in there.
Yeah.
The home midwife that came to visit was like, she laid me on the spare bed and checked my vagina. And she was like, there would have been nothing to really stitch. Because there was just like a tiny little graze, and I got a mirror down there and had a look, and it was just like,
yeah, it was like nothing. It was like they really want to do things on you even if you don't need them.
Yeah, well, she was worried. She said, well, you could have a little scar down there,
just in case things.
And I was like, I'm really not worried about a scar inside my vagina. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a like pretty thing. Like.
Yeah, so it was cool that you felt like you would recover fine without that.
Yeah.
And you rejected the stitches. I liked that.
Yeah, if I had like a full cut and was like open, like there was little cuts down there, I definitely would have went with some stitches.
Yeah.
But they also would have had to inject me with things. And yeah, I personally I used witch hazel. My boobs. Oh. So when it's like near Lorenzo's feeding time, my boobs get this instinct, and they get like this electrical feeling, like one of those plasma balls people have in their lounges and you put your fingers on. That's what it feels like.
Wow.
And my boobs start kind of swelling a bit, and I get these tingling, and it'll probably start leaking soon. I did go to the shops the other day, and I was wearing a grey shirt, and on the way home they started leaking a little bit for the first time. So yeah, I don't use any nipple pads like to absorb, but I've been using the New Zealand Haka pump, and I put that on the opposite side to get the let down. If you squeeze it right in, it does suction out quite a bit of milk, but if you just lightly squeeze it and put it on your breast, it just collects all the drips, and you'd be surprised. I've collected like so much milk. I've got like 4 satchels. I've got like 4.
Probably like a 2-litre container.
Yeah, I've got like a...
I'm joking.
No, it is.
You don't have a 2-litre milk container.
Oh, no.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, I've collected a lot of milk using the Haka, and I would definitely recommend it, because when my milk came through on day 3, it came in like volcanoes. Like, it was scary. That was scary. They were rock hard. Like, I was like, just had a boob job.
To massage them.
All of a sudden, and James had to massage them. The midwife that came out was literally milked me for half an hour and taught us how to hand express in like a pushing motion of the breast, and we literally milked me to relieve some of the milk. But then I did try using a pump, and then with a bit more research and quite a few people that messaged me, using a pump can, with the suckling motion, can make it think you're needing to produce so much more milk. Yeah, so the worst part of being in hospital for me, apart from the fact that some of the doctors and midwives treated me like I was a criminal that had done a crime, whereas if we had accidentally given birth like on the motorway on the way to hospital, it wouldn't have been an issue. But because we went along with it, but were willing to come into hospital if we needed to, we were treated like we did something really bad. So yeah, not everyone, but just a few of the people in there, which was quite not nice, you know. And there was a point where I was grilled by like 2 doctors, and I had a bit of a breakdown and cried for the first time. And when they walked out, I just thought, like, this is the type of thing that could cause postnatal depression. Like, this was so like traumatic for me, and I just have to try and block that part out, because we had a really positive birth, and I don't want that to take over.
Yeah, you want to remember the first part when we actually
the magical
had
experience.
birth.
Yeah, and yeah, not being naive, like we know things could have gone wrong, but note the word could have and didn't. So one of the worst things for me was the fact when they actually had to go up and check for any tearing, is they had to put 2 fingers up and check in my vagina, and that was all good. And then because you're in, like, you're holding your baby and you're in like a really relaxed state and you're trusting the doctors and that, you just kind of say yes to things. So she was like, I'm just going to go up, I don't know how she worded it, but I didn't really hear it.
She worded it so well, because I didn't know that was
I didn't realise this was happening, but she's like, I'm just going to go up your anus, like your bum, and check that that's all intact, something like that. And I was like, yeah, that's all good, like this lovely lady. And then all of a sudden, frick me, there's a finger up my bum, and because I had a few little hemorrhoids in the last few weeks, it hurt so much and caused like a little bit of bleeding from her putting her finger up there. And that was the most painful part, honestly. I couldn't sit on my butt for like 3 days because of her finger going up there.
It's really strange too, she didn't just like wiggle it in there, she just went boom!
Literally.
Like, I don't know if it needed to be like that, like for their practice, but far out.
It was quite traumatic. And as she's up there having a feel around, she's like, just relax. And I'm like, how? How does one relax with a finger up their bum? I'm not sure. So yeah, that was pretty intense. Also, some of the doctors were a bit concerned because he had like a soft scalp, and they wanted to do like a vitamin D injection because they were sure that I would have had low vitamin D levels. But I actually was taking vitamin D as part of my supplements, and I know that when a baby is born they do have a soft skull, not undermining the doctors whatsoever, but I said, can we just give him like 5 days to like see how it goes, because it's come back, it's round now. Like his head was quite cone shaped when he first came out, as it's meant to be, and then it changes over a week or even over a few days, their head shape changes. But they wanted to inject him with vitamin D, and I think that's what they wanted to inject him with, and I refused. And then I just asked what my other options were, and they said, well, we can do a blood test on you, but then if it does come back what like I think it will, we'll have to do the injection on baby. And I said, that's fine. So they did the blood test on me, which made me feel so out of it. I'm not really good with blood tests normally, but for some reason, just being real tired and that, it made me feel so eerie and out of it. And they called us back a week later. Was it a week later?
1 week later.
Yeah, and she said, she didn't really want to admit it. She said it's the doctor from the hospital, and she said your vitamin levels have come back, and she said they're actually really good. No, she said they're actually fine. She said they're actually really good, your vitamin D levels. And I just was like, okay, cool, thank you. So that was all good, but James was a bit annoyed because he was like, you just assumed that her vitamin D levels would be low because a lot of people don't take certain vitamins and supplements and things. So yeah, that was not ideal. But
yeah, the doctors were trying to like scare us heaps into staying at the hospital, and I couldn't say nothing. They made Zara cry, and so I was saying, instead of like telling us all the things that could happen and could go wrong and the negative side of it, why don't you just do the step by step and tell us what tests we need to get done, and then we get the test, and then we come back, and then from the results then we go down the path of if it needs to be talked about some negative things or some positive things, and go from there, not just like talk about all the negative stuff straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Well, there's no need for it. And then in the end of the day, the test results come back fine and there was nothing wrong. So we could have stayed in the hospital for a whole week to wait for those results, which is what they wanted us to do, for no reason.
Yeah, so I had to discharge myself against medical wishes, which felt really like naughty, like it felt really weird, but I just knew that they had to they wanted to keep me in there just for protocol, and like to, if anything went wrong when we went home and things like that. Oh. But when I was distressed in hospital, that was the first time Lorenzo started crying, because when I got upset, he got upset, whereas he was so calm when he was here with us. And then everything just changed.
Yeah, he was like in sync with you. Obviously he'd cry for a feed, but not just out of nowhere.
When I got rolled into the hospital, it was like obviously through the emergency section, and there was like people on the ground on like drugs, and people that were bleeding, and there was someone with police presence, and I wasn't with James because he had to go on the different entrance. And then the ambulance officers didn't know where to go, so they were asking me, and I said, I think it's B2 that we go to, because they might have been from like the Brisbane area. And then they ended up asking the janitor where to take me, and we found the maternity section. So it's been feeling really weird not having such a big bump and being able to bend down and like do things and feed the animals. It's so strange because you get so used to having the big bump, and it's weird for James. Yeah, I was used to standing a bit away from him. I actually got back to my pre-pregnancy weight like 10 days after, which was crazy. I'd lost 10 kilos in 10 days, which was crazy. But it makes sense because baby's like 3 kilos, the placenta's like 2 kilos, and you hold like 3 kilos water weight, and then your boobs are like 1 kilo or so, so everything adds up. Yeah, it's always like, I wasn't worried about if I was to get stretch marks or anything. I honestly didn't mind, but I was really consistent with using my body butter, which was like super simple ingredients, beef tallow with the collagen, and coconut oil with a little bit of vanilla scent in it. And I was using that on my stomach every single night, and I didn't get a single stretch mark, which was crazy to me. I put a little bit on the sides of my boobs as well, and just on the sides of my bum. And where I didn't put it at the beginning, the sides of my bum, was the only area where I got a little bit of stretch marks. So yeah, I definitely think a good natural moisturizer really helps. With regards to when I was posting online after Lorenzo was born, people were like, how have you got your makeup and hair done? My eyeliner is tattooed on and my eyebrows are tattooed. I got that done years ago by a beautiful girl named Brittany. And I wear lashes, which I have a video on my YouTube, how I put them on. I cut them in half and they last me like 2-3 weeks. And then with my flicks, I just use the quick flick, and it's just a stamp, and I'll put a video, you just literally stamp and glide in and it's on. So that takes like 2 seconds. And then I haven't been wearing any foundation. I've just been using the Eco Tan face water. You're like,
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but it's been, yeah, it's that's how I'm doing what I'm doing.
It's funny how people say, a lot of people said to us, like family and friends said, oh, you know, when you have a baby, you might not be like that, you know, things will change. You might not be like cleaning, the house might not be this clean, you might not like use makeup as much, and legit, like, our house is still clean as,
our house
and
is,
you still look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Our house is cleaner because I don't have this weight on me, and he goes in his little rocker that we got off Facebook Marketplace, and I can vacuum right next to him. One piece of advice my mum gave me was don't tiptoe around him. When he's sleeping, talk. I get that this doesn't work for everyone, but for us, like, we just talk around him, we don't whisper while he's sleeping, and he sleeps fine. When he's in the womb, he hears all these noises and things, so he's fine when the vacuum's going. That might not be the case when he's a bit older.
Yeah,
I know a lot
we'll see what happens.
But at the moment it's working for us, and we're still able to keep things in routine in that. And then I just try, for the first time I did have a little nap during the day yesterday, which is like, we're 2 weeks in now, and it was because he did some cluster feeding through the night, so he was awake more every kind of 2 hours rather than having those 3 hour solid sleep. So I did have a little nap for like an hour during the day, and yeah, but I didn't feel like I needed it the other days because James was like home for 2 weeks and able to help me look after Lorenzo while I went down and sorted out the chickens bedding and things like that.
I didn't really do much though, like you've been doing like 90% of the looking after baby.
Yeah, but like
especially at night time, I don't wake up.
But just you holding him while I have a shower, like the little things, is really helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, so our animals' reactions. So it was really important to me. I love my animals, and it was really important to me to bring home the blanket that was wrapped around him in hospital, and have the animals be alone in our room with his blanket to smell his scent before they met him for an hour. So we left them, and Elijah rubbed his scent on the blanket, and Kaiser and all the cats smelt the blanket. And then when we brought him in, they were completely fine with him. They were really curious, but it's like they knew this is what's been going on this whole time.
Yeah, they knew. So
one thing that I personally have been really strict on is any family members or anyone that comes over, I really don't want anyone wearing perfumes, colognes, spray deodorants, roll-ons all good, and like I don't care if someone doesn't have like a natural one, but roll-on's okay. But people think I'm a bit weird for it, but if you look into like the research, if you watch even like a TEDx talk, there was a beautiful lady who did a little documentary called Toxic Baby. Even while you're actually pregnant, things can pass through to the placenta. Things you rub on your skin, things you put under your arms. The skin is the biggest organ, and it can get through into your bloodstream, and they have found toxins in babies' placentas. So I personally try and use really natural products, and yeah, when it comes to people holding baby, their immune systems can't handle to process all the synthetic fragrances and things and Dior, you know, perfumes and things like that. So people think I'm a bit of a hippie, but to me it's really important. And James and I have been wearing, James and I for the first 2 weeks didn't wear any deodorant and had heaps of, we've just been having heaps of skin to skin with Lorenzo. But when we do wear a deodorant, we wear like a natural one. I like the Native brand. James has the citrus herbal musk, and I use the vanilla coconut. And also another really good one is the Mugu. They've got a fresh cream, which is unscented. That's a really good one as well. But personally, I just think it's really important.
Yeah, 100%.
So I do have a nursery tour video up, which I put in the description where everything is from if you wanted to check that out. So during the pregnancy I was using the Pregnancy Plus app, and now I'm using the Baby Plus app to track all the feeds and nappy changes and everything, which has been amazing. I definitely recommend them. It's like a free app and has so much information. When we did the maternity shoot, I got heaps of questions where the dress was from. It was just a sheet from Spotlight, but she's so amazing and makes it flow in the wind. And we had the best experience with Ricky Lee for our newborn shoot and our maternity shoot, so I definitely recommend checking out her page, which I'll link below. But hopefully we answered all your questions. We had 3 pages in front of us of all the questions, but if you do have any more, feel free to comment below, or any videos you want to see us talk more in depth about. When it comes to the hospital, I'm not disregarding the doctors or anything. Most of them were really good. It was just hard that some of them weren't on the same page as us with, yeah, everything along that.
Just the training doesn't incorporate like a natural way of doing things. It's more like medical, but
yeah,
I don't know, some of them were very accepting of things we were wanting to do, and then some of them were just like, they're not really open-minded to anything other than what they've been trained. So but there was very nice midwives.
Yeah,
There's some very nice midwives, and then some that just I don't know if they wanted to be there,
maybe not as passionate
not
about
as passionate.
it.
Yeah.
I think it's important to be passionate about what you do in life.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, thank you so much for watching our video, and I hope this answered most of your questions, and we'll definitely do more videos in the future, so stay tuned for that.
Woohoo!
Bye!
See you guys. You're gonna edit this, eh? Just be like, and then you go, and go to sleep.
Alright, take 403.
About that.
Our cat, Biza. What?
Visor. Our cat's name is Kaiser, with a K. You can cut that bit out. He's waving his hands in the air like he just don't care.
Hi baby. No, he's my old baby. He's 2 babies.
Okay, ready, set, go. You go. Like, hey, I'm here. I'm hungry. And then he starts going, I gotta get a drink.
We're almost there though.
So you're doing it.
You got dirt all on you. Did you change your top?
No?
Hey, go and change your top. You can't wear that.
When he puts his
I'm
hand
not
up
gonna
here.
put that on. Okay.
I hate them. Does not feel good.
No.
Yeah, Dame's breastfeeding is like a real...
Babe, your chair is going to drive me mad. You need to try and stay still.
I'm not going to be able to do that.
Right.
I'll really try.
So yeah, once a month...
What was that?
Notice, and then James actually...
Okay.
plan, like, to do a... Oh, no.
Oh, shit. Oh, you just do a poo.